Today marks 2,500 days since I left my house and started living internationally. I've been gone for over 7 years, and the biggest question that I usually get is, what is life like outside of the States? How have you been able to live away from home from so long? And it's a difficult question, something that I reflect on quite a bit. Knowing that I've missed big events in my family and my friends' lives. Some of my friends have had kids, some of my friends have gotten married. Family members have had kids, gotten married. Everyone back home is now getting older. Their lives are different. They're changed as people. I've changed as a person. And I wonder how it will be when I do go back home. I think the biggest thing that has changed throughout these 2,500 days is how I feel, how I look at life, what I think about. And this is something that I haven't even realized until a few days ago when I was wondering how long I've been gone. And to see that it's almost been 2,500 days, I can't even imagine how long that's been or how many moments that I've missed. Everyone has an untold story, and looking back and thinking about my untold story that was about to come, I couldn't even imagine being here now, or that I would be living and working abroad. The people I've met, the type of work that I've done, the things that I've seen, are experiences that none of my friends, none of my family could ever tell me about. Getting on that plane for the first time was one of the scariest things ever. And that first flight, to be able to fly out of the US, the sickest I've ever been. So nervous, so scared, so frightened, sitting on the back of the plane. I thought I was gonna throw up, just wishing that the plane would land. But I took one step, and then I took another, and I took another, and then eventually those steps have led to the last 2,500 days and getting me to this point. And now I've lived all over Nepal, I've traveled all over Asia, met different people, learned different lessons. And even though I've missed so many years, I've been able to write my own story, and I've been able to experience these things no one else could even think of. I tell these stories, and they're just little insights into my world, into my life, which is completely different from what they're used to, what they've experienced, what they've seen. And it's nice to be able to bring this different point of view back to the people I do love, bring them into my life, encourage them to do different things or take chances. One of the biggest things that I've learned over the last 2,500 days is to take that chance, to take that risk. We only live once, we only get to experience these things once. And if you miss one of your chances or your opportunities, it might never come back. The cliche of grabbing the bull by the horns and then going for it, I think that does really apply throughout your life. If you don't take that chance, you'll never know how life could have been, or the things you could have learned, or the places you could have visited. And even though things have been hard and difficult at times, I've been lonely, I've cried, I've been vulnerable, I've been scared. Those are just the moments in between. We can't always be happy, we can't always be up, things can't always be peachy. So those moments in between make all the other great moments even better. And I've seen and experienced things that have changed my life and that I will take with me forever. And they have influenced how I think, feel, see things, how I communicate. And overall, I think they've all made me a better person. I think living internationally will definitely change you as a person. Change your mindset, change your thinking, change your beliefs, change your understanding both about the world and about yourself. And I think two of the big things that I've kind of learned is to persevere and to be resilient. I remember the first day here in Nepal, I was told that I was gonna have to learn the language, and I've never spoken a second language in my life. I never thought that I would be able to. I remember cheating through Spanish in high school just to get the credits. But here in Nepal, I was told I was gonna have to learn Nepali. I didn't believe that I could do it. Immediately wrote myself out thinking I'll never be able to learn a second language. This is impossible for me. I remember that first week, we were told we were gonna have to say a couple sentences about ourselves, what our name is, where we're from, what we like to do. I couldn't even grasp how to say my name, and I immediately broke down thinking I'll never be able to do this, instantly spiraling down into negative thoughts and thinking I'm done, I can't learn a second language. I wanted to give up during those times, but I was embarrassed and I didn't want to be one of those people who just immediately gave up. I decided and made the decision that I wanted to learn the language and I wanted to persevere. And I remember sitting there being sad and then making that decision to just learn how to say one thing, and after I learned how to say one thing, I could learn how to say a second thing. Eventually I was able to speak Nepali, and this was all within the 4 months of arriving. You get homesick, you start missing your friends, your family, how life was, how simple things were. You understood the language, you understood the culture, you understood how to order what you want, you understood how to buy what you needed. And here in foreign country, you have no idea. You're almost helpless at the beginning, especially as a first-time traveler going to a country that there's not that many English speakers, or it's difficult to get what you need or want. And during that time, I decided if I want to survive here, if I want to continue to live internationally, work internationally, then I'm gonna have to learn the language. I'm gonna have to persevere through this. And at that time, I decided, to learn the language, I need to communicate. I need to talk to everyone I can, ask as many questions, and not be afraid to make mistakes. And when I made that kind of mind shift, I realized that if I'm self-conscious about what I'm doing, what I'm saying, what I'm thinking, that I will never progress as a person or in my life. I will always kind of live under that shadow of being scared. Another defining moment for me, deciding that I was going to open myself up to mistakes and be vulnerable. And you learn that you need to persevere through those things, and you have to be comfortable with yourself. If you can't do those two things, you won't be able to leave your country, leave your house, leave your community. You'll be stuck in kind of that area. And I know when I was living back in the States, those were definitely things that I was scared of, and I didn't want to experience something new because I was scared of what could happen, what people could think. Those are those first moments that I remember that I really needed to change who I was. It's led me to where I am now, where I've been living abroad for over 6 years, where I've had millions of conversations with people from around the world. I've learned about the culture, I've learned about myself, the things that I was wrong about and the things that I could improve. And I think that's what living internationally or living abroad or maybe just living in general is all about, is as you grow as a person and you realize your mistakes and you realize your faults and who you want to be, you start making those little changes. I think it's an active decision you kind of have to do. You have to actively decide that you want to be a different person, you want to change. And I know that that is one thing that I've definitely learned about myself, is that I'm willing to make those changes or adapt or be resilient. And resiliency is the only thing that will get you through difficult situations, those difficult times when you're living abroad, when you feel low, when you feel sad, when you're missing home, when you're missing your family and friends, you're missing the comfortability of your hometown and your community and the peace or the comfort that it brings you. I know thousands of times throughout the years I've been uncomfortable with where I am, and that complete shift in lifestyle and the way that you do everyday things is difficult, and you can either pack up and go, or you can, be resilient and decide to push through it and get through that. Easy talking about now, but those first 2-3 days, it was so different than what our everyday lives were back at home. I think people learn how to be resilient and persevere in different ways, but for me, you have to put yourself outside your comfort zone. You have to get away from your security blanket, your security net, and kind of get out there and experience things by yourself. Struggle through the difficult situations and struggle through the unknown. Otherwise, you'll never know what you can amount to, what you can achieve, what you can accomplish by yourself. You'll always be relying on other people to get you through these situations. You'll allow yourself to live in this comfortable situation. You'll struggle to grow. I know some people can definitely do it. For me, I realized that living in my comfort zone, I would probably never grow. And I think that is one thing that I would have never realized until I left and I started doing things by myself and experiencing the world by myself. True for other people as well, that they have to go see the unknown to learn just how resilient they are, learn how they can persevere and they can do things by themselves. And knowing those key things allows you to take more chances and risks and go for the things that you want. That one dream that you have, that one thing that you constantly think about. Should I do it? Should I do it? It's all about saying yes. The only thing that's holding you back from going on that trip, leaving your job, deciding to study again, deciding to do something new is yourself. For me and myself, until I removed those doubts and those uncertainties and those fake barriers, I was stuck. There's a famous quote, no matter if you believe you can or you can't, you're right. It's not until you take that first step that you realize how much you actually can do. Every time that I talk to someone, I tell them to take that chance. I tell them to travel abroad. I think traveling internationally and especially living abroad will change who you are and it will change the way you look at things. So what has the 2,500 days taught me? It's taught me how to take that chance.